this video, we want to use Terraform to deploy a really simple Hello World container on Kubernetes. The extension that you need in Visual Studio Code is HashiCorp Terraform that you see I have installed it already, and I have started PowerShell as administrator to execute some Kubernetes command in parallel. Okay, I close this page and go to File. I create a folder here. The first file that we need here is provider, because we should specify which provider of Terraform we want to use. We want to use the Terraform and the Kubernetes provider. The file must be named provider.tf. After that, I created it. It is actually a personal setting. I prefer to use autocomplete feature of each editor. Therefore, it's always better to run Terraform init command to be able to use this feature in the editor area. But because I didn't specify the providers that I want to use right now, first I want to ignore it, and after that I specify the providers in this file, I can execute Terraform init command. Not to waste the time, I copied the configuration that I most of the time use for deploying on Kubernetes on local machine, and I paste it here to show you the providers that want to use the Terraform, which version of the Terraform, and the provider is Kubernetes, and you have to know what is the address of Kubernetes on your host. One of the way that you can use to get this address is to use kubectl config view command. To show you how you can use it, I will paste it here. Then you see that the server address is https 127.001 and the port number. I copied this address and paste it here. You can do it on any on-premises and your local machine. And after that, you specified the provider that you want to use. Now it makes sense that you go to the folder. CD in our case is Kubernetes Hello World, and you can execute Terraform init command here to be able to use the autocomplete feature of Terraform in your Visual Studio Code environment. Great, and look, it looks good. One more thing that you consider is .terraform files and folders that you have here. Please be careful if you are using with any Git repository or any versioning system, source versioning system. It's better to consider these two files or this file and folder in your git ignore file, because it's not necessary to push them into your repository and it doesn't make sense. Now I don't work with Git, it is only on my local machine, therefore I don't have git ignore file here, but you have to consider it in your real development environment. Again, not to waste the time, after that I specify the provider. The Kubernetes developers and experts know that we can start with deployment, And in Terraform, we have to start with deployment TF file as well. Deployment.tf file. And not to waste the time, I took a simple example of Karthik Gaekwad, the learning Kubernetes from LinkedIn. Because my aim is not to show you how to develop application or how to make container image. The goal of this video is to show you how you can use Terraform to deploy the same resources on your Kubernetes on premises or on your local machine when you are testing and learning. Then we have to, now I can use control space button to use autocomplete menu in my editor. The first resource that I need here is deployment resource. Then again control space. Now I can use Kubernetes resources deployment. Exactly, Kubernetes deployment, and the name is, in our case, for example, hello world. Now I can close this panel to show you the whole command that I'm using. As you know, first each deployment needs metadata. Actually, I follow the same steps as I have in this small and simple example. Metadata, and each metadata, you know that you have name in your autocomplete menu, and it is hello world again. What we have here, we have specifications, great, again control space, and you have specification. You see that they have both the same structure. I do format it to looks better. And then you have, let me to apply the changes manually. Okay, in specifications you have selectors. It is the same as you have there. It's not so complicated. For the people who works every day with Kubernetes configuration file, it's easy to convert it to Terraform file. In matchLabel we have app and we have hello world. Specification here is for a selector is finished. Then what we have replica, the same, control space, replica. Here is in our example is 1. I can say for example 2 to show you that it can we deploy 2 pods. Then we have template, the same as a configuration. Each template has a metadata, and in metadata we specify the labels. Control space help us, again app and hello world. What we have specifications for template. I'll come to the same level. Specification, in a specification we have to specify which container and what is the container name. The same structure, container, then we have name. The name is hello world, and the container image is I would take the same container image and we specify container ports, the same structure. You see, it's not a big challenge. Container port and then Control S. I saved it. We are in the same folder of hello world. I can close it and I start with Terraform. You can use Terraform plan to see it is a dry run to see what will happen next, but I can go ahead with Terraform apply. When you see this question, you will answer the question with yes. Great, the deployment is finished. Now we can go to check the Kubernetes resources. To check the Kubernetes resources, I go back to PowerShell and I say kubectl get deployment set, and I would see yes, hello world is there and 2 pods are ready. Then I say kubectl get pods, and then I see yes, 2 pods are running. Right now we cannot see this hello world in our browser because I can say kubectl get services, and only we have a cluster IP service here and it belongs to Kubernetes. If I want to see this application in my browser, I have to have node port service here to be able to see this container or the content of these pods in my browser. In some scenarios, you are learning something, you are deploying the resources, but you don't really want to cause any cost. You can simply use Terraform destroy command here. Terraform destroy, and then all the resources will get deleted. Yes. Great. I execute the same commands. Deployment has been deleted. Great. Pods must be terminated. Yes, they are terminating. They will be removed after a while. Okay, then you now know how to deploy Kubernetes resources on premises and destroy the resources. One more thing that you have to consider is the state file, because all that happens here are based on Terraform state file. The state file knows which resource must be created, which resource must be updated, and which resource must be deleted when we execute the Terraform destroy command.